Rick from Beat Up the Sun, my friend, a yoga entrepreneur. You are so many things to me. He's joining us today, and I'm really excited to have this opportunity to sit down. I'm actually very grateful because I love our conversations. I respect who you are. I learn from you. I'm greater when I'm with you in many capacities in the space that we work together in. But I also have really gotten to know you in this last season, and I consider you to be a great man and friend and so wise, and I think you have a lot of gifts to share. There's so many things I want to talk to you about today.
Okay, thank you. And I have to say, I am so inspired by so many aspects of you that for the friendship to be developing, it's a real honor, a real privilege to enjoy that inspiration on a more regular basis.
Well, I appreciate that. And, it's been a bit of a risk, I have to tell you. You've become a big part of the BB Body community. And I say risk because we are such a female-based business, community, and company. The style in which we train, feminine workouts, body sculpting, rhythm movement. It has been a brigade of women for a very long period of time. And it was my understanding and awareness and intentional pivot to start bringing in strength training, masculine energy, and opening up the community to a sense of newness and experimenting. And I love your live streams. I love your yoga practices. I love co-teaching with you. I love being a student of yours, as well as creating. And I think you've added so much to the community, and everyone loves it. And I appreciate it. And it's just been such a joy to be able to work beside you and to create together. And I really do learn from you. And that's the purpose of these type of sit downs and interviews and sharing our knowledge with everybody else, because so many of us are going through the same things.
Yeah.
And I want to pick your brain a little bit, if I may, because I have such respect for your yoga practice. And for many years now, so much of your dialogue and your narrative has stuck with me, and I have listened to some of your yoga flows in the car, not practicing yoga, but just listening to words. There's so many things that you've said that have become part of my story and my narrative and the way in which I lead. And I just love the sentiment and what you bring to it, and the calmness. And I wish that everyone would experiment and experience yoga. And I feel that there is a disconnect and a resistance. Not everybody thinks they're capable. They don't know how, they don't know where to begin. Many men, strong athletes, don't like the feeling of stretching, the discomfort. And I know the values beyond the yoga flow and the practice and what it does to our lives. So I would love to get your sense on that. As a man, as an entrepreneur, as a yogi, as an athlete, you kind of embody all of these different things. And I know that yoga makes all of them greater areas of your life.
So much better, yeah.
What are your thoughts?
So,
what's the resistance?
Well, I think the resistance is a couple things. One, for the first 34 years of my life, I had that resistance. So I know what it's like to think yoga is weird. And I know what it's like to then see the difference in life post yoga, and to feel the stark benefits that come from it. And so part of my mission is to be a little bit of a messenger, to speak to me 8 years ago and help me kind of make that transition. One of the reasons that I think yoga is intimidating for people is the community could do a better job of introducing people to the practice. You go into a class, and if you ask many people what their first yoga class experience is like, confusion, intimidation.
Intimidation, for sure.
They're coming from a place they were working out before, and they're thinking of yoga as, just kind of another workout, but they leave confused, not having been worked out. And so it's
maybe not successful in the postures, not knowing that it's not about the success of the postures, it's about the process experience. Yeah, people really struggle with the confidence to approach it in the way that we do.
People think I don't have good balance, I'm not flexible, I can't do yoga. And as we know, we don't do yoga because we have good balance. We don't do yoga because we're flexible. We do it to develop balance. We do it to become flexible. And so a big part of my mission is to really change the way that we introduce people to the practice, so that people from the very first posture have a sense of I can, a sense of confidence. And the truth of the matter is that most of the benefits of yoga can be enjoyed with the simplest postures.
I agree.
Tabletop, cat, and cow.
Amazing.
99% of people can do tabletop, cat, and cow very easily. And when they do those three and they're like, wait, these are yoga poses, they're surprised that tabletop is coming from the yoga tradition. And immediately they feel confident. So then they're like, okay, well, what's next? And we go to a child's pose and we modify it because the open instep's a little tricky. But from tabletop, we just draw the tailbone back a little bit. Wherever your child's pose is where it is.
You know what? That's so true. People want to do what they're good at. And tell me if you agree, but I wish that more people would get out of their comfort zone and challenge themselves and try new things and develop a skill set that's out of their norm, so that with that develops a whole nother set of tools to do other things in life, right?
Big time, big time. And what you can feel in just those three poses is you can feel yoga heal. And so everyone knows what it's like to be at work, and in that 6th hour of the day, the shoulders start to be sore, the lower back. We know what that does to our work product. And we also know what it's like to have energy in that moment. And the difference, it's what, maybe 5x more productive when you have the energy and you aren't feeling pain. And you can feel yoga heal with just those three poses. And for me, I was playing golf when I started doing yoga, and I would hit a bucket of like 80 balls and I'd be fatigued at the end and I'd have to stop. But I discovered that if I did 3 minutes of Warrior 3 and a half moon, I could go hit another bucket of balls.
Which are challenging poses.
They're intermediate poses that someone who's brand new, like if you're brand new, you wouldn't do those poses. So I was a couple, 2 years into the practice or so at that point, and I wasn't doing them perfectly. Like I was doing them very flawed.
But you were creating energy through those postures. Yeah, I get that.
And so it's like, okay, well, I can't deny the healing nature of yoga in 3 minutes that allows me to go hit another bucket of balls and get better at golf faster. Right. Undeniable.
Amazing.
Yeah. If you take it to the office, so I was working real estate when I started yoga, and at age 33, 34, brain fog, back pain, GI issues, like all the stuff. And it's like, is this just what turning 30 is about? And at first that's kind of what I thought. And I was like, no, this is crazy. So then when I began the practice of yoga with the most basic, easy poses, I started to find ways that once again I could heal myself. And the work product got so much better that I was able to then negotiate for raises, and I was able to deliver a better work product, and I was making more money, and a financial freedom journey then comes into vision that I can actually believe in. And so there's a whole world of professional development, career development, financial freedom that yoga's fundamentally at the center of, in my experience.
I've never heard that connection before. Do you think that it is because of that we drop into a greater sense of awareness through the practice of yoga and the relationship with our old body that's allowing us the ability to do things at a higher level, in a more productive level? Because that makes sense to me. And when you speak about this, now suddenly men's brain is going to open up. They're going to be like, oh, yoga for entrepreneurs. Okay, I could wrap my head around that rather than just trying to develop balance and flexibility. But it does make sense that if you're more tuned in and more aware,
big time,
you can do everything at a greater level.
Big time.
Yes?
100%. So awareness, which is what you're putting your finger on, is absolutely a force multiplier that goes well beyond awareness just within the physical body, that applies fundamentally in the professional world. The ability to, let's say, I don't know if you've ever said something that you regret, but
of course.
I have. And I've been known to have a little temper from time to time and be a little type A. And with the awareness that was developed, and then a couple other little techniques beyond the awareness, I could feel it coming on. I'm about to say something that I'm going to regret later.
Because of the greater relationship that you have with yourself through the practice of yoga, that you see it coming.
Yeah, the awareness. Awareness that is developed, certainly awareness of the body, but awareness of the self.
What a great skill to develop. At a minimum, awareness in your own body, within yourself, so that you have the ability to play the pause.
Yes, play the pause. 100%.
It makes me think of the value of breath and how underestimated that moment is, to just stop, take a breath, check in, take a little inventory. It doesn't have to be a 30-minute meditation, everybody. We're talking about dropping in, taking a breath, pausing for a moment, which is really going to give you a greater ability
Absolutely.
to do everything that follows, right?
So, and also for those who are considering yoga, for the first 4 or 5 years, I thought the breathing cues were annoying. Like I didn't do them because I was
The
mostly
breathing
doing.
in, exhaling what doesn't serve you. I know people
I
make
ignored
fun.
it.
People
I
make
ignored
fun
it.
of us because there's this very woo-hoo association to everything that we're doing and trying to sit there when there's a million things that we need. Most people can't settle because they have so much to do that they can't take the time for the doing of not doing, and we know that, right? So it's interesting to hear someone bring this sort of entrepreneurial twist to this and to open up the mindset of just connecting the dots between mind, body, and awareness, mind, body, and breath that allows us to function at a higher level, period.
Right. Such a higher level. So I know what it's like to think the breathing is weird, and I had a successfully, improving yoga practice that was a profound impact without the breathing. So people should know if you think the breathing's weird, that's okay. Think the breathing's weird for a while.
And which type of breathing are you referring to? Are you talking
all breathing? Like I did not, like I ignored the breathing cues for years.
Were you one of those guys that was in the yoga class going, this is really goofy, I think I need to get up and walk out of here right now?
Well, no, I became the guy who really enjoyed the movement, but it was more of a workout.
Okay.
And it was more of a introspective and coming inside and learning about my body and slowing down. But the breathing just was not, I just thought it was woo.
A little woohoo, okay. Fair.
But then there was a transition where I learned, when I came to realize the value of the breath, once again, force multiplier changed everything. And now in 1 minute, there's a very simple breath that I call SN5. Soft nasal inhale for 5 seconds, soft exhale 5 seconds. And in 1 minute, you take 6 of these breaths. And your entire mental chemistry changes. The lightness, I become enthusiastic, I become happy. And what we know is that optimism predicts success. Happiness predicts success. There's a general perspective out there that I'll be happy when. When I get the promotion, work hard now, when I retire, I'll be happy later. No. It's scientifically understood that happiness now predicts success. And so the breath gets us happy now. That's a real thing that we can go further into. But one of the mechanisms, just because that might sound foreign to people, is that there's research that shows that when you're optimistic, you literally have a wider field of vision. Your peripheral vision expands. And so what happens is you start to see opportunity. And when you go into a conversation enthusiastic, optimistic, opportunistic, you see the opportunity. The idea comes to you and you go, oh, there's a good idea. It doesn't just miss you. And you
maybe
don't pass
you
on it.
go into it with more clarity so you can actually recognize it because you're dropped into your body.
100%.
Makes perfect sense to me. And probably very foreign to a lot of people that are listening. And we know that you mentioned a minute, but let's just say anxiety, stress. You want to drop your stress levels. You want to deal with anxiety, even for children. If you were to take moments of your day and just slow down and breathe, you literally can reset your nervous system by simple breathwork practices. And we're talking minutes.
Yes.
One of the reasons that I became a breathwork facilitator was because it changed my life. But through the power and the beauty and the gift of breath is medicine also, it really helped me slow down, reconnect, develop a greater sense of awareness, do some inner housekeeping, check in, let go, heal. So many things happened for me with breathwork, but you're talking about little moments that are game changers throughout the day. And when we have a lower stress level and we can manage those challenging times, anxiety, stress, we can do everything at a greater level. So that really makes sense. And I never thought about the relationship between the two. Yoga life, yes. Yoga business, no. But that makes sense to me.
That was my journey. The first 4 years was yoga because I was able to perform better in my career. So what about you? And your yoga was not the first fitness modality for you. What did you see change, any aspect of life?
So many things, Rick, but quite different than your experience. It was very much a spiritual practice for me. I never considered yoga to be a workout. And And honestly, if you were to look into a yoga room, it's not the most fit room that you're going to find out there when we consider fitness. It's just a fact.
Right.
For me, it was my time. It was my time to spend with self. And although I was in a busy room, I really went inward, and I worked very hard to keep my awareness inward during that time. I love to take a journey through music. So through body movement and breath and rhythm and music, I was actually able to slow down the big brain, to stop thinking so much and just be with myself in the experience. It's a practice for me. It's a daily practice. It's a way of life. It's rewarding for me in so many ways, but it's also time for me. Even when I'm teaching, I love to be a student and I love teaching, but it's a time for me to really understand strength and weakness. And you probably hear me speak about that a lot, but it's which muscles are overpowering other muscles. Where am I holding resistance? Where does tension live and why? What's happening in my body? So I'm able to do a body scan through my practice, student or teacher, and really check in what's happening in my neck and jaw. Am I grinding my teeth at night, and why? Am I not sleeping restfully? Why am I carrying stress in my hips? Is that something? I mean, I go quite deep on that, but is that something that I need to look at? And I do a scan from the tip of my toes to the top of my head. And you've done yoga enough with me. It's wrists, it's hands, it's shoulder blades, it's everything.
Yeah.
So it's my time to really check in. Very different for me than a body sculpting class, a workout, a sweat. I get a lot done in yoga beyond strengthening my body and working on lengthening, strengthening, balance, postures. I also meet myself with such freedom and grace and compassion when I do tree pose series and I'm working on balancing postures. I give myself grace to fall out of them, and I kind of check in. Where am I today?
Right.
Where am I? Left side, right side?
Yeah.
Am I missing a little bit of this marriage? Is there a union that needs to happen inside of my own body? Why am I off today? And on some days, I might feel super strong and connected, and my balance is off. So I dive into that. What's happening in my body right now? Why am I struggling with that? And then I just give it some time.
Yeah.
And so yoga for me feels like a gift. It's a practice. It's my space to really slow down. And I do a lot of yoga chisel. I mean, I do all kinds of different yoga. We had the privilege of experiencing some yin yoga together in Costa Rica. I felt like I had an out-of-body experience. I felt like I was on a plant-based medicine journey. I was literally out of my body and so deeply relaxed, soft. I get everything done in yoga. I do.
Right, totally.
Yoga's therapy for me. I mean, it is.
It's maintenance where people see me and they're like, "Oh, Rick, like you're so calm." And I'm like, "Not if I don't do yoga." like I'm type A anxious by default. That's the natural state.
Yeah.
And with the practice, it brings me into the peaceful, soft, contemplative, creative me.
One of my favorite lines that you said long ago, and it's as important to me today as it was the first time I heard it. You said that in yoga, our body whispers at us. Our body's speaking to us. It's giving us messages. I always think about body language, not as a posture. That's the way that we know it. But for me, body language quite literally is a language from your body, whether you believe in your soul, your spirit, your heart, whatever your faith is. Your body language is the way in which our body speaks to us, I believe. And you said that in yoga, your body is just sort of whispering. And if you give yourself that time and that space and that rhythm to really hear it, to slow down enough to hear it, you get the messages. And when you're not doing yoga or you're not taking care of yourself beyond mobility and all of the other issues that are going to happen if you don't care for your body starts screaming at you. And I interpret that as injuries, disease, stress. So I just think it's invaluable to take that time to tune into your body. I do that through yoga.
Yeah.
And for people who are afraid or who are resisting it because of their fear that they're not strong enough, they don't have enough balance, they don't know how, they haven't practiced, you have to begin somewhere. So I love your suggestion of the 3 basic poses. And I think it's important for people to understand the value of stretching and mobility and movement. simple movement, because if we lose that, it doesn't get easier.
Sure.
Today's a great day to begin for anybody. And then finding a practice, a guide, a teacher that you really resonate with, because we know how annoying that can be. And if you don't love my practice, try Rick's. If you don't love Rick's, try mine. If you don't love ours, find some content. Content is everywhere. Find a teacher that inspires you. I love it. And I love to do different forms of yoga and to try new things and to keep stretching my own ability.
And on the love of yoga, two things about your teaching that I love, that I'd be curious to hear you, like, where this comes from. First and foremost is just the creativity. The way you teach sculpt as well, but I see it so much in your approach to yoga, is it's free, it's creative, and
it's
so
a little messy. We joke around about that, and I'm okay with messy. I know you think I'm not giving myself credit, but
you're not giving
I intentionally
you're incredible yogi.
Thank you. I allow myself, I guess, to be free, but that's part of my expression.
Right.
That yoga allows me to share so willingly is the freedom. For example, tree poses, balancing postures. I'm always free to fall out of them.
Right.
Anyone in my class is free to modify, to fall out of postures, to skip them, to take a downward dog, to take a child's pose, to drop into savasana. I feel that yoga has to deliver a sense of freedom so that everyone practicing is allowed to go where their body needs them to go. And my body guides me in my own style, and in which I lead. And I also love to be a student, so I'll cut and paste and pick up little bits and pieces. And if I love something that I'm experiencing, I want to bring that back to class.
Yeah.
I want to bring that, incorporate and weave that into my own study. And I also know that yoga, I imagine, would be quite different, but fitness has about a 3-month attention span, period. Scientific fact. So after about 3 months, you've moved on to the next thing, you've moved on to a new class, you've given up on that program, you're not tapping onto the app, you're moving on.
Yeah.
Which is why I really believe in the power of creating a sense of newness. It's why I love to be outside. Vitamin D, Mother Nature, earthing vibrations, that's my jam. But also being in different environments so that there's a sense of newness visually for people. So I want a new playlist when I'm teaching. Not always. There's something to be said about sense memory. But I like different spaces. I love to teach at Rafi Lounge. I love to be here. I loved being in Costa Rica. I have favorite studios around the city. I always want to drop into a class wherever I am, if time allows, so that I can be a student, so that I can forever keep learning.
Right.
That I can challenge my body, that I can discover a pose that's like, ooh, that's really hard for me. And then I want to understand why, and I want to make it better. But that's my type A, also controlling mind of I want to continue to evolve in my physical ability.
Well, you're a learner.
I'm
you're
a
a
learner.
grower.
I'm a sponge.
By nature. And I mean, so all right. So 3 things. So the third one, then, just coming off of this. So we went to the class, Andrea's class in Costa Rica.
Yes.
And there were so many moments that I loved. And if I were to go teach a class the next day, I probably would have had about 3 of them.
Yeah.
You did teach a class the next day, and there were 8 of them. And I just, as they kept coming up, I was like, wow, what a sponge. What a learner. You're so open to bring that in. And then but still with the creativity, you made them a little bit your own. And so to see the influence, but then to see the Brooke through the influence, it's like, it resonates so deeply.
I really appreciate that. The way that we develop and create content and share content, even on this app, is with a lot of freedom. And I do have tremendous respect for yogis that are following Bikram, for example. You know exactly what you're getting. You're going to get the same thing every time. You're never going to stray. It's really hard. I love it. I used to do Bikram every single day back in the day. But I like to allow people a space and a freedom to sort of make it up as you go and to make it your own. And also, I think for me personally as a teacher, I think there's value in challenging and surprising the brain. Because if you knew the flow, and I do love yoga flows that are predictable and they're in a proper sequence. You will rarely experience that with me. But
sure.
I like to surprise the brain because I don't want it to be mechanical where your body just knows where it's going. And that's for me when challenge sets in. I really believe in freedom and making it your own dance and finding your own rhythm. And what I love about flowing with you and teaching with you is learning about modifications, simple adjustments that allow you to go places, that allow you to stabilize the body, to develop a greater sense of confidence and strength. And I think most people, my opinion, in resistance to yoga is that they haven't yet maybe found the right flow or practice or teacher where they're learning a foundation that they can build upon.
Yes.
And I think you offer that. And I think you're an incredible teacher, because not only your words, that some people are literal, some people are, I mean, it just depends, right? You really have to find that sweet spot in your own dance and a flow, especially as a beginner.
Right.
And then you have to find your freedom to know that your body will allow you to do things that this part of you will tell you that it can't.
Yes,
and continue to challenge yourself and continue to grow. Mobility, movement, air, vitamin D, Mother Nature, yoga, walking, all of these things really are free.
Yeah.
They're really free and available.
Well, as you talk about free, one of the things that I think of in your teaching style, particularly with yoga, is it's almost like, so I'm into music, and in jazz, it's pretty much all improvisation based. And it just feels like this improv that's happening. I feel like you're there, you don't have a set plan, and you're listening to your body and you're feeling the class. And I bet that you are not more than 2 poses ahead of where you're currently teaching at most times. And that in the moment, what you feel between yourself and the class is what's determining what's happening next.
It's so true.
Is that right?
You observe me.
Like
you observe
improv.
a lot. I mean, because I think you're taking it all in, and I really am guided by the class when I teach. Not everybody's willing to do that. I'm really there to serve. I'm there to serve, and I'm there to create an experience for a class that I'm guiding. I feel privileged to be able to do that, and I like to read the room. Like, I know when we're going to drop down into a plank flow. I know when we're going to hold a plank longer. I know when it's been enough. I know when I need to turn the music up. I know when I need to get out of our woohoo meditation music and put on a little bass. Like, we know. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I kind of let it guide, but then I'm also inspired by the challenge in the room, and I'm inspired by challenge in life. The energy of challenge for me really fuels my soul. So I have like a funny way of of choreographing,
alive.
but I also
alive.
Thank you. I choreograph live, like in real time. So I appreciate that you say I feel alive and I feel connected. I feel most connected in that space.
Yeah.
I feel the most aware in that space of teaching or being a student in yoga. I feel the quietest in my mind through rhythm and movement and breath.
Yeah.
And I love it. And there's so many things that I want to do as a teacher. Yeah. Are there things that you want to do as a teacher?
Infinite.
Yeah.
So
and isn't
many.
that
The
exciting?
list is so long.
And
Absolutely.
I would hope that people listening could really welcome that possibility that there should be so many things that you want to do in wellness. And as a student, try things. You decide if you like them or not. See what works for you and what doesn't. Get uncomfortable. Do different things. Challenge your body. We just started this 5-minute plank challenge together. It's so hard. If you would have told, and on some days I'm doing 3, I'm listening to my body, I get to 4. I never would have thought that I could do a 5-minute challenge until Alex brought us into it and distracting us. And I was still surprised and so proud that we actually did it. We think we can't do certain things. We think we don't have time. We think we might not like it. I think if people would just relax into the possibility of letting the experience dictate what is, in real time, in yoga, in anything they're doing, but specifically in yoga, just to see what comes up. See what comes up in Savasana.
When you're talking about time, yoga creates time.
Yeah.
And the mechanism through which this happens, I believe, is that our head's always full of, whether it's anxiety or worry or desire or comparison, all the different things that flow through, and they take away from our clarity and our focus. We also know what it feels like when it's like the aha moment, or when we're like locked in. We know what that feels like. And it's probably a 5x productivity shift. And so in yoga, we get to clear the mind some, maybe not 100%, but if you're at an 8 on activity in the mind, maybe you come down to a 4.
Okay.
And that shift, that noise reduction that allows clarity and focus to come through, so that maybe we get a 3x benefit from the focus and the clarity that emanates from that. That's a huge efficiency boost. It's a game changer.
Talk more about that, because I think people might be hearing this for the first time, and that productivity shift, that possibility through deepening awareness, through doing yoga, through connecting with your body, through calming down the nervous system, through improving focus, 10xing focus and potential.
Big time.
Tell me more about that.
Sure.
Because that's huge opportunity. Huge opportunity.
So extending a little bit to meditation, a really good example is I was sitting and meditating. And when I meditate, for me, what it is I'm just trying to observe the thoughts in my head. I'm just, okay, what's going on in here? Because there's this circus that's going on. Like there's this lunatic inside. And it's like, okay, like let's see, what is this? And routinely something like this will come up. Defensive. Oh. And I'll be like, whoa, Rick, like here's this thing that you're being totally defensive about. Your mind is just looping on that. And then when I recognize it, pretty much all you have to do for the most part is kind of shine a light on it. And then your mind's like, oh, you caught me. Okay, I give up. And that defensiveness kind of goes away. And what replaces it now is a much more proactive thought where intuition can come through when we reduce the clutter in the mind. And what many people, almost nobody knows, that there's a very clear definition of yoga. Some people think the definition is like really debatable. There's no debate what the definition of yoga is.
I'm dying to hear this because I've been looking this up recently.
If you go back 2,200 years, the Yoga Sutras were written, and the Yoga Sutras really are the consolidation of 1,000 years of different families, different tribes growing up and experimenting. And so Patanjali consolidates all of this information into 196 verses, so short that you could like write it in marker on your bathroom mirror. And the second,
probably will.
You probably will. I look forward to that reel. The first verse is Atta Yoga Anushasanam, which just means and now the exposition of yoga. It's an introduction. Okay. The second verse is Yoga's Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Yoga's Chitta Vritti Nirodha, which means yoga is the calming of the wandering mind.
Yep.
That's the definition of yoga, is the calming of the mind. And when you realize that, what's so accommodating about that for those who are intimidated by yoga, who see people like me doing pretzels and handstands on Instagram, which most of that is also yoga, but not the essence at all, is that when you think about it, yoga is the calming of the mind. Okay, if I go into a tabletop and I slow down for a second and my mind calms, I'm doing yoga. If I do cat and cow and just breathe through it and my breathing slows down a little bit and my spine starts to open up, I'm doing yoga. And so the person who's doing all the crazy stuff, but whose mind is really not calming down, definitionally, you could argue, is doing less yoga than the brand new beginner who's doing cat and cow or taking a child's pose.
I think there's a lot of confidence that can breed from that possibility. And in calming down the mind and quieting down the mind and quieting down the noise and the chatter, I think that it's in that space that we can actually begin to listen. And in that space, we can actually hear. We can actually take it in and process what may or may not be happening. It's really the calming of the mind that happens in yoga, in meditation, in stillness, in sound baths. There's so many different modalities that we practice. But for me, that's the most valuable part of yoga, and beautifully said, to really simplify that. Thank you. And then to begin to understand all the other benefits beyond fitness. I struggle with that, yoga and fitness. For me, it's part of my wellness practice, but clarity is what I think you're talking about. And improving the ability to just function at a higher level, optimizing your personal potential through yoga. I would bet that 99% of people have not explored that possibility.
Sure. And the thing is, that's actually rather easy to experience. If it sounds crazy, I'm skeptical of all things yoga, all things spirituality, until I have an experience that tells me otherwise, that I say, oh, this is true, I experienced it. You can experience what you're describing. Like, I believe fundamentally that all people have really good thoughts on a recurring basis. We all have intuition. And the challenge is that there are so many things that clog up our mind, worry, desire, anxiety, future, past, all the different things. when you experience a little bit of that calming, the intuition that is inside all of us has a little space to emerge. And when you feel that, there's that idea. This idea just showed up, and this, like, you create a little space, the idea starts to come through, and it's like, oh, now, like, that's powerful.
Creating
That's
space,
powerful.
making space.
Yes.
I really love that. One more thing I want to touch on,
Okay.
and then I want to pivot with you, and I think that this goes hand in hand. The awareness and the need for rest and recovery. So, okay, we need to create space so that we can hear, listen, and connect and optimize potential. I'm with you. Totally get it. Never heard that analogy before. I'm on it. Now I'm going to be even a more powerful businesswoman tomorrow. Thank you.
Go, Brooke.
But when it comes to rest and recovery, if we would give ourselves the allowance, the grace, the freedom to pause, to surrender, to rest, to recover, and I'm not just talking about sleep, to take those breaths, to really calm down, to connect, to sort of recharge. Would you agree that we are able to do everything we do at a higher optimal level?
100%.
100%. So we talked about this the other day. We're grinding, we're working, the plate is full, we've got back-to-back calls, so much to accomplish in a day. There's some days where I wish I had more time. I actually ask for, why don't I have more hours in the day? That's my bad, but it's because I have so much to do. But if I were to give myself a break during the grind of that inhuman schedule that I create for myself, I would be able to accomplish more.
Yes.
And we discussed this.
Yes.
And I thought it was a really valuable lesson to share with people. Example, it's not always easy, but let's just say I got a little bit more sleep if I needed it. I would be more productive the next day because I would be clearer and more efficient.
Yes.
If I were to take a break, I probably would drop into my next appointment or meeting a little bit more on top of it, and I would be more efficient.
Optimistic, happy, enthusiastic.
So I think we can't underestimate the value of rest and recovery. And sometimes yoga is rest and recovery for me.
100%. Almost all of the time, an element of yoga at minimum, if not the entire practice, is rest and recovery for me. And what I think is important for those, especially, like, particularly those people who are working really hard and are ultra productive, one of the hardest aspects of discipline is the discipline to recover.
Yeah.
It is very, very hard to hit the pause button. And the trick, what I found that got me over that difficulty, one, a book called The Art of Impossible, where he fundamentally talks about exactly what you're saying and in very good detail. But then two, the experience. When I experienced the 5x, the 10x result of a calmer mind, leading to this idea that dwarfs all the others. Like, all right, so there's 30 items on the to-do list, but through the clarity, it's like, wait, this one thing makes all of that, I don't even need to, none of that actually has to get done because this one thing is an order of magnitude more important.
Clarity.
Focus.
So clarity and focus will serve us at such a greater level. And the greatest neglect of self-care, I have always said, is caring for others. But I want to change this today in this moment. The greatest neglect of self-care is caring for other things, right? So it's the doing, meaning we neglect self-care, our boundaries, our self-discipline to do yoga, to rest, to reconnect with self, because we've put so much care and attention and priorities on all of these other things. We neglect self by caring for others. The greatest neglect of self-care is caring for others. So let's just say the greatest neglect of self-care is caring for others and other things. So I do think there's great value in that and really understanding.
I love that.
Yeah. Super simple.
And so a little piggyback on that. I think the very first thing that you opened with was having a male in the community that has been predominantly female. You had an event here, and it was the first event of yours that I'd ever participated in that was...
I think it was Wellness and Wholeness.
Wellness and Wholeness. It was on a Sunday, and it was 97% women.
Yes.
And it was the first time I've ever been in a community, like a personal development kind of a growth that was 97% women. And it was life-changing from the male perspective because I just got to kind of be a fly on the wall and just hear the conversations and hear what women are thinking about. And the theme, my takeaway as like the dominant theme of the day was that ladies, if we can learn to prioritize ourselves first, those that we aim to serve, we will serve better.
Mm-hmm.
And
100%.
how do we shift? How do we make that shift instead of prioritizing others first, prioritize ourselves so that we can accomplish what we're trying to do better? Like that was a life-changing moment from that specific lesson, but also from the male experience of being in a predominantly female community and recognizing how meaningful, life-changing, like all the things. Like,
I remember that conversation. I remember that moment. And if I could give you the short answer on how to do that,
yeah,
I was always last on the totem pole, and I did really well there. And I thought being last and serving others, my children, my man, even my dog before self, I did fine there. I thought I was crushing it.
mm-hmm.
And then I had to make a major, major life pivot and put myself in first position without guilt, without shame. And the way to do it is just to do it.
Just to do it.
You just do it.
Just do it. Right.
It's just non-negotiable.
Don't overcomplicate it.
You just do it.
Mm-hmm.
You just simply decide one day that you are going to be a better partner, a better CEO, a better wife, a better lover, a better mother, a better friend. You are going to be better at absolutely everything if you understand the value of self-care and of being in service to yourself. Mm-hmm. And taking care of yourself so that you can care for everything in a higher capacity, period. You just do it.
Yeah.
You can't, it's not a slow fade. You're not going to tiptoe. You just decide. You just decide one day, just like the cheeky analogy, you know, you're on the airplane and you put we know that. Yeah. This is real life. This is real life survival.
Game on. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, just another thing that I love so many things about you, but here as well let's not overcomplicate this. This is really simple. That's not necessarily easy, but this is not complicated. You just do it.
Yeah,
like, let's go.
Yeah. Like if you want to make a life changer, you want to start doing something, like you're listening to this and now you want to function at a higher level. Just go do a yoga class. Just do it. Yeah. It's really simple. You just decide to do it, period. Yeah. It's like, what are your non-negotiables? What are your daily rituals? How are you designing your life? Because you're here for a minute. I think you're here for a minute. Yeah, a minute. If you're lucky. So you got to get it, not right, but you got to make it productive, and you have to be in service to yourself. And I think that you create those non-negotiables. Yeah. You just do. You're such an example of that. You just do it. I try. You're such an example of that. I try. Thank you. Your level. How are you so productive? I have a lot of energy. Yeah. I'm kind of like a hummingbird. Okay. That's a good, I like that. And I say that with a compliment because my energy isn't erratic, and I know it's a little type A, and it's a little bit of a control freak, and it's all of the things that I'm constantly, working on. But I think my ability to perform at such an optimal level and to have high energy is really required in my life and serves me well. But I also have a great work ethic, and I understand the value of showing up and doing what I say and saying what I'm doing and not flaking and not canceling on people and keeping my word and showing up and serving myself in a way that allows me to get up and do it again, and knowing when I need to pause, knowing when it's a little too much. And I might not on that day be able to clear my schedule because I need a down day, but I'm listening enough to my body, even recently coming back from Costa Rica going, I'm grinding, I'm feeling overwhelmed, I'm feeling torn. I know that tomorrow I'm going to take my shoes off and come outside and earth and ground and another woohoo thing that we do, but that I need to just connect with nature and maybe go lay on the grass like a little girl and do absolutely nothing but just lay there. Yeah. And listen to the birds and that fills my cup back up. Mm-hmm. So I know how to reboot. Yeah. And I know how to recharge. And I just know how to stay connected to myself. Mm-hmm. And even on days that are more challenging, because easier said than done and good and bad, I'm able to kind of sit in that and go, and even speak words to it, vulnerably and with truth. I feel a little off today. What's going on with me? I know that I need to go back inward and check in with myself because I'm worthy of that and I deserve that. And I love myself enough to do that. So for all the people who, like me, look at you and are just confounded by how much you're able to do, and who maybe aren't taking the time to prioritize themselves first, it's like
part of your secret is that you're prioritizing yourself first. And by prioritizing yourself first, you get the efficiency to go truly walk the lesson that we were just discussing a minute ago.
I want to touch on something that you said to me the other day, because I am prioritizing myself. But in prioritizing myself, my choices are to do these amount of things that are meaningful to me, okay? Mm-hmm. Many of them may be acts of service and serving others, but those are my choices that make me feel better about myself. I'm prioritizing that, but I also know how to listen, and I know how to check in with myself daily and say, hey, how are you doing? I know that the next season might look really gnarly and that there's a slight, tiny little chance of burnout.
Okay.
I'm very aware. You're giggling because I know you know me now. I'm so aware of it that I check in with myself and say, how are you doing, Brooke? Are you okay?
Yeah.
Because we're not going to burn out. So, but I'll teeter at the top of it. I'm just not that person that's going to burn out. I'm going to serve myself and pause and take a step back first so that I have the energy to continue doing what I'm doing, even if it takes me longer.
Yeah.
I would rather have quality over quantity. So I do have these conversations with myself a lot. But you said something the other day that I want to bring up.
Okay.
Because we could talk for hours, but I think this is a good pivot.
Okay.
You said that every yes has a no. And every no has a yes. So can you touch on that a little bit? Because I've thought about that for the last 48 hours and realizing that challenge and being okay with the fact that every yes has a no. And you gotta come to grips with that. You have to find freedom and the ability to set boundaries and say no.
Right.
So that you can say yes to things. It's like less is more, giving up what you don't need to make more room for what you do.
Right.
So, tell me about that.
Well, time is a limited quantity. And so what we say yes to fills or takes away from the available time, which means that anything else that could have been in that slot, we are saying no to.
Yep.
And so in a kind of Rick analytical way,
yeah, no, that's one aspect. I see, I respond to that.
That's one aspect of it. And yeah, so it was kind of born out of you described yourself as not being very fun. And I was like, you're like the most fun person I know. That I can't allow you to describe yourself that way.
I do always say I'm not that much fun because I don't make
time. Anymore. You were saying anymore.
Now I'm going to be really fun this season. But I say that because I don't do a lot of things outside of work, life, family, and responsibilities, which I enjoy. But that's what I mean by that. And you really did check me, and I'm more aware of that self-criticism.
So good. Coming back to the yes-no thing, though, what you are saying yes to, as you just said once again, is it's okay for me to pause and check in inside. It's okay for me to pause and put my feet in the grass. It's okay for me to fill in the blank with some of the self-care, to not go to the party tonight, because you're saying, I'm not going out as much as I used to. That's kind of what you were attaching some of that, I'm not as fun anymore. But the fun, like from my perspective, that is the yes that comes from that no, is I see you transforming people's lives.
Yeah,
like you're transforming, like in a very, very real way. You're saying yes to that. And I feel, whether it's right now, whether it's in the yoga class, whether it's any of the ways that we interact, all I'm doing is seeing you being fun and like enjoying your energy through it. And so that's all yes. And so the little no's would be a shame to magnify for how big of yes is and how much fun you're leading a community of people toward.
I love that, Rick. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, it's sincere.
Yeah, I think that matters.
Big time.
Thank you.
I mean, what is your secret to, and I don't mean this in any like small or trite way, in the literal sense of the word transformation. I have seen you lead other people through transformation at scale, in a way that I haven't witnessed it before. And so, I mean, how do you do that? What is that?
I don't know if I do it. I think I create a space for people to do it. I create a place and I create a space where judgment doesn't live. I create a space where freedom exists. I create a space for vulnerability, a space for truth, a space for real connection, like deep connection with self, with each other, a space to feel supported, accepted. Community matters so much to me. You know that. But community, there's such a safe zone there once you find your tribe, and I hold that very sacred, you know, and I guide in a little bit of tough love. You've heard me. We have to respect one another. We have to be discreet. Confidentiality is really important. Judgment does not exist. It's not even allowed. But community, you know, we learn from one another. And so as you begin to connect and you feel safe, your mind opens up, your heart opens up when you feel safe. Everything opens up that allows you to feel on greater levels. When you don't feel judged, you're able to get really honest. You're able to show up authentically with integrity. And when people begin storytelling in circle, which is how we usually sit, because I love that dynamic of that energy as it sort of weaves us together, right? You begin to realize that our stories aren't so wildly different. The trauma might be, the challenge might be, the privilege might be, but really the essence of what connects us all, because we're trying to be complete. And to really simplify it. And I always think about a word and how to describe the work that I do. And if we're all, it's not just longevity, how can we live longer and stronger and be greater yogis? And, you know, if we can just find a sense of completeness, like for me, it's like we leave feeling whole, feeling seen, developing a more intimate relationship with self. That's transformative. And so through the different workshops of asking questions, of going to inquiry, of asking people to meet themselves with honesty, asking people simple questions like, who are you? Who are you today? Who are you showing up as today? What are you grateful for? Creating energy from gratitude. What we appreciate appreciates. We create more energy. What are you letting go of? What don't you want in your life? It's easier for people to begin with what don't you want.
Right, sure.
And then identifying that, it becomes a real thing. It's a mental reminder. I don't want that. Ooh, that's creeping back in. I decided that I don't want to be on a 10-hour day where I don't have 1 hour for yoga or wellness or walk or meditation or me time. I don't want that. You better write it down or you're going to find yourself back in that 10-hour day. So it's a little bit of trickery. It's a little bit of trickery of allowing people to choose their path to get down the avenue of truth and integrity and clarity and honesty and reality. That's what transforms you, is when you slow down. Same thing with yoga. It's all the same. I don't care how you get there. Create space. Create a place for you to get still and listen and slow the hell down. And slowing the hell down in our society, I'm really guilty of it, is really, really hard. That should be the challenge. Slow down and learn how to listen. It's the only space that we can hear in.
So I love that.
That's
I
it.
so in everything you're saying, I see it as you're saying it. It's like I see it. It's like I can see all the moments where that's happening. I experience it. My own transformation.
Thank you for that trust.
By you. There's a person at the retreat who I've known for some time, and on the third morning she walked out and was the lightest.
I know what you're talking about.
Happy, like not like jumping with joy, but just light and bright. And I looked at her and I said, how are you today? And she said to me, this is the first morning in 4 years that I've woken up with the only emotion inside as joy.
I know who you're talking about.
And it's like,
she actually also said it's the first time that I feel like myself in 4 years. And those moments for me to be part of that in some tiny way means so much to me. And that's what makes me continue to do this work. That's what makes me want to do more. I believe in it. I watch it happen. It brings me so much joy. It's powerful. And honestly, I'm just setting the stage for people to do the work. And holding their hand while they're doing it if they want it. And, you know, I can't take credit for any of the rest.
Helping people feel comfortable and giving people the confidence, and when they hit a little valley along the way, helping them through that, and just to get enough momentum to, in this case, the retreat, to leave the retreat kind of catapulting out. And so I saw 4 people from the retreat last night, and 2 of them what they're doing 2 weeks after the retreat,
So true.
like it blew my mind. It's like,
really
I
amazing.
love this for you.
Listen,
it's so
it
incredible.
goes exactly back to what you're talking about.
Mm.
If we can get clear, so you're saying that yoga will allow a productivity shift. In clarity,
Yes.
we are able to 10x our personal potential, period.
Right.
So what you're seeing is a woman, man, a human return from a transformative experience with a deeper sense of awareness and personal potential to go out and do what it is that they want to do.
Right.
And I love that work.
Big decisions were made by these two people.
I love it.
Like big decisions. And I was, with one of them, I thought, okay, I think she's going to take the leap. I bet 3 to 6 months. Nope. 10 days.
I love it.
Like,
so that makes me so
cool.
happy. And,
Yeah, it's
you
so
know,
cool.
sometimes all it really requires is time with yourself to ask the questions and then to really listen. And that's what I do in yoga, by the way.
Totally.
I ask a lot of questions. And
Big
I get,
time.
sometimes I don't get the answers, but sometimes I get them.
Sure.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you.
I love
Laura.
that. I love that.